Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you on the True People's Media, the Thom Hartmann Program. And S Dubin is in the studio with us. He is the president of the Committee of 10,000. Corey, welcome to the program.
Pleasure to join you, Tom.
Thanks for being with us. You got to eat that mic. You got to be within three.
Pleasure to be with you,
There you go.
Tom.
Okay, great. Thanks
for the chance.
Glad to have you with us. What is the Committee of 10,000?
We represent the 10,000 people with hemophilia that were infected with HIV, AIDS, and/or hepatitis C from contaminated blood in the 1980s. We took the hit of the blood supply. We were essentially the NORAD, North American Defense for the Nation's Blood Supply,
Right,
the
or the
canaries
canary
in the coal mine.
Yeah.
That was our quote that we came out with when we came to Washington in the late 80s and started pushing the government and pushing the industry. We took a class action against the industry, which we settled, a group of us. And then we passed the Ricky Ray Hemophilia Relief Act, which Mr. Clinton was instrumental under his watch in cleaning up the blood supply and assisting a devastated population. We lost 50% of the population, Tom.
Wow.
There's 20,000 persons with hemophilia in the nation at that time, and there were 10 left, and there's only 1,400 left of that 10,000. I'm one of them.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, we're pleased to have you with us, Corey, and glad that you've made it this far.
Tom, I can't say I'm not glad myself. It's good to be alive, my friend.
There you go. So now, I remember that era. I remember Reagan basically dismissing AIDS as, oh, that's a gay disease, and as if gay people weren't worthy of anything. And then it was actually the hemophiliacs who kind of turned it from being a gay disease in a way that kind of gave cover, I guess, to the right-wing Republicans. Am I remembering my history
Tom,
right?
There's a caveat to that.
Sure.
The community was very split at the time. But for the Committee of 10,000, we came on the scene as an AIDS agency, and our allegiance, first and foremost, was safety of the blood supply, but it was also at working closely with the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender communities. I chaired California's Prevention Committee. I chaired the working group because we felt we were an integral part of all people with HIV/AIDS. Some people tried to call us the innocent victims, and the committee's position was there are no innocent victims. All people struck by AIDS must be taken care of, and it's been our position.
Or there are no non-innocent victims.
There are. Either way you want to structure it, we're all in this boat together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for a lot of people with hemophilia, Tom, where do you think they learned about AIDS? Our community shut down, government shut down, our docs shut down, and gay and lesbian centers throughout this country welcomed us as willing participants with them in the AIDS fight. And some of them mentored me in things that I needed to learn.
Right.
Unfortunately, what happened is the Bush era moved us back all to identity politics. They separated us.
Sure. And so what is the Committee of 10,000 doing? What is the Committee of 10,000? You need if you can just rotate that mic so it's pointing right at your mouth.
Got it. Sorry, Tom. I have more sense.
That's quite all right. Yeah. And what is the Committee of 10,000 up to these days? What are you all doing, and what do you want our listeners to know about?
I was the first grassroots consumer non-doctor to be appointed to the FDA Blood Products Advisory Committee. Those are the people where the problem happened once, and now we're part of that. We're stakeholders. And we continue to be kind of the blood safety action team. We're a small group. We're much more structured like a civil liberties organization from the 60s than we are a disease state organization. We act quick. And today we're working closely through our staff, Dave Kavanaugh here in Washington, on ACA, the Affordable Care Act, insurance care, major issues that sit kind of simultaneously with blood supply safety issues. That will always be our primary role. But the insurance companies are getting set to put us all on welfare.
You're kidding.
Basically. They're about to reject covering the chronics. That's what's happening, Tom. The reality is...
How do they do that?
Rate shock. First of all, they are concerned. They are concerned. Didn't mean to interrupt you. They are concerned what's going to happen as ACA rolls out. And they know they can't say to me, Mr. Dubin, you have hemophilia. Your clotting factor costs $600,000 a year. We're not going to cover you.
Right.
And they did that for years. Our people ended up on welfare. They had to divorce even though they were still a couple. Worst case, Tom, I'd have to get a divorce, sell my home, go on welfare. I'd remain married to Phoebe. But truth is, they'd destroy my life.
Right.
And the problem is that big insurance realizes that the goal is to get the chronic diseases covered. The whole system's based on the healthy people help cover.
Right. By
the
ACA,
sick
by the way,
people.
you're talking about Obamacare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't use that
As
term.
as
but
Obamacare
yes.
comes in, then basically the health insurance companies are trying to throw you all onto what? Medicaid?
Oh, yeah. They want the government to pick all of the chronics up because they're so expensive.
And you're pushing back on this.
pushing back as hard as we pushing back as hard as we pushed back on safety, Tom.
How can our listeners help and participate?
Our listeners can get on the phone with their representatives, their local papers, and talk about what's going to happen when California or another state, for instance, puts a $100,000 limit on my care annually, when to keep me up and talking and walking, it's $600,000 for just the clotting factor,
right,
to keep me from bleeding.
Right.
So we take this personal, Tom.
I understand.
We take this as an attack. Just like the safety issue.
Yeah.
And we're kicking and fighting with everything we have.
Well, good on you.
We're working with Mrs. Capps, who's been an excellent advocate. Her and Mr. McKinley on the Republican side have introduced H.R. 460, which is a real bipartisan bill that will rein in big insurance.
These are members of the House of Representatives.
Members of the House. Mrs. Capps from Santa Barbara. Mr. McKinley, I believe, is from West Virginia, 1st District, Republican.
Right.
Together, they introduced H.R. 460, which we urge everybody to support. They really map out some standards that insurance must live by.
Okay, so another thing people can do is call their member of the House of Representatives and say, support H.R. 460.
Absolutely.
Is there a name for the bill, or how would you summarize that if you were calling a member of Congress's office and you just said, I want to support this thing for those people who have hemophilia and who have,
Patient Access to Treatments Act of 2013 is the technical
the Access
name.
to Treatments Act.
Access to treatment, because essentially what's going to happen, Tom, is either welfare or we're cut off. And if I don't have clotting factor, I could bleed out, I could brain bleed, all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah, of course. And the website for the Committee of 10,000?
COTT1.org. We're rebuilding. It's been tough times. We're a small organization, Tom. We hang on. We're rebuilding our website. And there's not a blood safety website to match ours anywhere in the nation. But we're regrouping and uplifting our site.
You're doing God's work, Corey.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks for being with us.
Really appreciate the opportunity. And Tom, your show, I'm a former Pacifica program director, and your show is superb.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be on Pacifica, and thank you for your kind words, Corey.
Of course, Tom.
Appreciate it.